It is the 40th anniversary of my bar mitzvah. Actually, yesterday was, and I saw this picture as part of a B'nai Mitzvah Institute program yesterday, Temple Shir Shalom, and so I wanted to share it for a moment so you all could see how much hair I had when I was 13 years old. My brother, for that matter, too, because he has the same hairline as me. But look at that. We have no idea what the cantor was reading to me, this giant certificate proclaiming that I actually became bar mitzvah. I don't know. And the fact that was real wine they were giving us too back then. Maybe not the best of discretion, but nonetheless, a celebration and something that I was thinking about because being the 40th anniversary of my bar mitzvah, I wanted to teach a little Torah, share a little bit today. Instead of having a guest about once a month or so on Monday Morning Musings, I want to share and just use this time as something that I'm thinking about, something I'm chewing on. And uh, I find that every once in a while, ideas get into my mind that I keep coming back to that are really influencing me and what I'm doing. And what I've been thinking about is something connected to my scribe article last month, as well as something in the Torah this week and last week, all connected to miracles. So why miracles? Why I've been thinking about that. One, yes, the Torah portion is of this past week, the splitting of the Sea of Reeds. Next, what this current week is the receiving of the Ten Commandments, Moses going up on Mount Sinai. My brother, Rabbi Stephen Moskowitz, the one in that three-piece suit, so dapper, as we saw in the moment ago, taught something this week and shared it with me, and I found it really awesome, and I've been loving building upon it and wanted to share that as part of my Monday morning musings. You see, in the Torah portion last week, our ancestors are fleeing slavery. They get to the Sea of Reeds. The Sea of Reeds, of course, splits, opens up. They walk across on dry land. They get to the other side. The Egyptians come after them. The sea closes upon the Egyptians, and they're free. And they celebrate. They sing Micha Mocha, or they say that prayer that we say all the time in our services. How blessed we are. How no one's like God, and this awesomeness of this moment. But then, within 3 days, they begin complaining. They begin whining to Moses. Moses, Egypt was easier. It was easier back there because we knew it was going to happen. We were enslaved, but still decisions were made for us, and the unknown is so difficult. Fascinating. They witnessed this miraculous moment, this miracle, how they've been freed, the splitting of a sea, and within 3 days they lose sight of that. Same thing this week's Torah portion, Ten Commandments. Moses goes up to Mount Sinai and comes down with the Ten Commandments. We get the Ten Commandments here, but the Israelites complain again. He's gone for too long. They build a golden calf. Lots of challenges around that, right? Interesting, in our tradition, we talk about these miracles. They're in our Torah. We celebrate them as some of the strength of what God has done for us. But we don't know where Mount Sinai is. We don't know where the Sea of Reeds is. We don't go and worship at these places. And part of it is because we see in our history that miracles are unsustainable to build our faith upon, only on that, on these one-time events, right? It can't just be that. And the idea is that we have to celebrate the here and now. I mean, people ask constantly in our faith in Judaism, like, where are the miracles today? Where are the moments that our faith was built upon or that we hear in the Torah? And the argument is that our faith isn't necessarily built upon these. It's from that idea that miracles can happen, but that we can find them all of the time when we open our eyes. And that's what I talked about in the Scribe article last month, about Neil Pastrishka and his book, 1000 Awesome Things, right? And here was this guy who was falling into a deeper malaise and depression every day and focusing on all the things that were wrong in his life and in our world, a marriage that was ending, a friend who had succumbed to disease, a world in crisis, all things that, look, we see around us today, the challenges, what we can't control in our world, right? I keep saying, if there's one thing this pandemic, the coronavirus, has taught us, is that we're not in control, right? That there's a lot in our world that is beyond us. So with that in mind, what can you control? What can you? And that's partly our focus, right? What we're going to spend our time immersed in. And so he said, I'm going to find something awesome every single day and write about it. And he did that. right? And if you look at his book, right, he says, I think the first thing in there in his blog as well is finding that tiny piece of popcorn that you get out of your teeth, right? So we've all experienced that. So there's so many things where he says the first scoop of peanut butter out of a new jar. So I really appreciate um, not just his book, that in my sharing of it last month, people have been talking to me about it and sharing how much it's meant to them and that idea. So I decided I was going to do it myself, right? That I would start every day and try to find something that was going to make me smile. Find something that no matter what was going on, I was going to be inspired by. So the first time I thought of this was stepping into the shower and the water temperature being perfect, needing no adjustment whatsoever. How infrequently that happens. Never, actually. I can't think of another time where I haven't had to adjust it just a little bit. It was perfect. And I thought, wow, amen. That's sort of cool, right? Or another thing was working out and being inspired by a song that you have never heard before. That is awesome. Another thing was crying during the final episode of Schitt's Creek. Yeah, I actually, in the pandemic, have binged that, watched Schitt's Creek for the first time, and finished it last week. And that's my admission. I got teary in the last episode, and I thought that was pretty cool. That was awesome. You know, there's so much that's not right in our world, so many challenges that we're seeing all the time. Our frustrations with not being able to get the vaccine yet. While some have, thank God, many have, especially those above 65, and I'm thrilled to see it's happening. But more of us should be able to get the vaccine. More of us should have access to that. Or how about the disparity in those who can get the vaccine? That in the minority populations of our country, in the Black community, much fewer have had access to get the vaccine yet, even in the senior citizen, you know, uh, category. So, so much frustration, so much challenge. Our kids frustrated with school, not being in person or trying to be partly in person, and it works sometimes. It doesn't. I get it, right? But we can find blessings. I got a beautiful note from a congregant who shared last week with me how much she misses being together at services, and she thinks she may have taken temple for granted. And the opportunity just to drop in and say hi, the opportunity to sit in the sanctuary. And this congregant said, I don't come to services that often, but when I wanted to, I did. And I think I took it for granted. That was a blessing for me, that recognition, but it made me feel so affirmed and knowing that we will be together again. And God willing, in the not too distant future, things I'm thinking about. So, what I'm asking of you on this time, as we look at this Torah portion filled with miracles, is even in the midst of our challenges, find these blessings every day. Find these miracles every day. Maybe it's the first sip of coffee, even when the sleep is still hanging on in the morning, that you enjoy, right? Maybe, it, look, it's reaching out and calling someone you haven't talked to in a long time. It's a text message from someone that just brightens your day. You can make that miracle happen by saying that text message, right? Maybe it's a book you want to read and you finally say, you know what? I'm going to set aside half an hour every day. I'm going to read that book. I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to do it. Sat there forever. There are five that are waiting for me to read right now. Oh, actually, three. I've read two of those. Um, they're there. The opportunities are there. And it's up to us to find those blessings because they're there as well. So, something I wanted to start our day with this week, something I wanted to teach, something I wanted to share that I hope that you can enjoy, appreciate, and hold on to for the rest of this week, but even more than that, too. Hey, good things, more blessings for us at Temple, special opportunities. We're really fortunate through Julie Flashner, one of our staff at Temple, whose uncle is Dr. Larry Corey, who is the individual heading up the vaccine implementation, or actually the creation of the vaccines and working with the different companies through Dr. Fauci. as they've been colleagues for years. And Dr. Corey will be with us at services on Friday night. It's a 6:30 service. We'll do our full service as we always do, and then he'll join us at Tish and share with us and field some questions as well. Uh, I know that his mission is, look, get the vaccine into people's arms and the importance of that and building up our herd immunity. So really important, and hearing from someone on the front lines and making this a reality. So excited that Dr. Corey will be with us. The following Friday is cheese tasting, so that you can sign up for that online through our website, and you'll get to again, go through full service first, and then those who want to do the cheese tasting and who have purchased that and had it delivered will be able to enjoy that with our cheesemongers. However, you can still go to the cheese tasting even without buying the cheeses and just learn about them, just like we do with our wine tastings too. Rabbi Daniel and our friend Benny are starting a new series of Israel classes of visiting Israel once again. And this time they're going into the modern state of Israel and some of the conflicts Israel's experienced, and understanding both the places, the geography, along with the modern miracles in a sense that occurred from 48 in the creation of the state to 67, the Six-Day War, to Lebanon and the border there. What does that represent? So you can sign up for these classes too. They're lunch and learns at 12 o'clock, I think starting soon. It's online. And next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, will be another of our hot topics class. And I too am talking about Israel. What do we call the land around Israel, or the West Bank, Judea, and Samaria? What do the semantics mean? What does that represent? What do we learn from in understanding that and wrestling with that? So, good things that we have planned. Trivia is next week as well. Doing a trivia, so many things programmatically that we're trying to make sure that we're staying connected just like this. And I always appreciate your time, you coming and joining and starting on this this Monday morning. Speaking of blessings that are right there, let's give a shout out to my friend Paulette, who I know got a surprise from a visitor and her family this weekend too. Yes, miracles. Amen. And I'll leave it at that. Hey everyone, have a safe